Okay, well, it is 5:30 on the dot. So I am going to go ahead and get us started, but I might pause periodically just as people are coming in the waiting room. So I don't want to keep them waiting for long. But for tonight, I just want to welcome everyone to our second session of Learning with Libertas. Every time we have one of these, we will bring in someone who can help add to the conversation to discuss, our charter and the different components. And this week, our focus is a day in the life of a scholar or one of our Libertas students. So tonight with me, I have Savannah Davis, our Libertas instructional coach. She was our first hire, so I'm really thrilled that she'll be starting with us for the 23-24 school year. So Savannah, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Of course. Thank you, Selena. So again, my name is Savannah Davis, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this Libertas family and get to serve as the instructional coach for the upcoming school year in this community that I was fortunate enough to grow up in and still continue to give back to. So I'm looking forward to working with other educators, students and their families to create the next generation of American citizens.
Wonderful. And thank you for being here. And for those of you who may be new to us and learning about Libertas for the first time, I am Selena Patton. I am our school director. I have been in this community for 13 years. I have been a teacher for the first part of my career. I've worked at the district level and very fortunate to be leading the efforts along with our board to get this school open here in Bowling Springs. So thrilled to be here, thrilled to be part of this and to be part of really impacting that generational change in our community. So we're going to jump right in because the purpose of these sessions are to provide very clear and succinct information as quickly as possible to families so that we are cognizant of time, and we also post these. So this has been helpful for families who want to reference our content as we move forward. Okay, and let me adjust. So what I do ask is that we just stay on mute to the end. You can enter your questions in the chat box at any time. And again, we will be respectful of your time and we will be done in 30 minutes. So I'm always going to start these with just a bit of an overview. Again, we could have families who have just found us and might not know very much about Libertas. We want to make sure to always address that. So what you see here on your screen is the architectural design of Libertas and what it will look like in the second year in operation. So this building will be complete in our 24-25 school year. What you see at the top is, of course, the outside of our building. What you see at the bottom is our library. So it is very important in our curriculum that we're providing a lot of literature for our students and classical literature. And so that is a very important part of our school, and the library will be the heart of that. Next on our screen, I want to make sure that you all know and see our school and what it's going to look like just in its basic and overall design. What you see on the top left-hand corner of the screen is our Forever Home sketch on the property that we have purchased at 300 Rainbow Lake Road. So if you're familiar with the area, it is right up past our fire station. Then there's the United Methodist Church, and then that tree line is where our property begins. And so the question I often get is, how are we going to have that building done in time for August? And the answer is, that is not the plan. We want to make sure we do it right and well. So we are going to have prefabricated modulars, at the bottom part of that property. You see that where the red circle is, and you see that those are the plan for our first year. So we will be in these and those prefabricated modulars who are designed to meet the same safety standards as any school is intended to do. They're very nice, large spaces. I'm working on trying to get some drawing and design so that we can share that with our community so they can really take a look at what we have planned for our modulars. And so there's big, large open hallways, restrooms within them. So they're very nice. And we're really thrilled about the ability to have that on the same property at the same time as our construction going up in year one. Another very common question I get is, what sets Libertas apart? So why Libertas and what makes us different? So, in order to have a charter, in order to be approved to have a charter school in any community in South Carolina, your charter has to dictate what exactly you're going to offer. That has to be different than the local district. So, we are not part of Spartanburg District 2. We are different. We have our own board. And so, what sets us apart is a very important conversation to have with families because we certainly want them to understand who we are and what we are required to give that is different than our local district. So as we get in that conversation, Savannah has been a part of a lot of these planning meetings and things that we're doing as part of our leadership team. So Savannah, if you could just walk us through some of those high level pieces that just really do set us apart and what makes us Libertas Academy.
Of course. So at Libertas Academy, we're going to not only say that we focus on the whole child, but ensure that it happens. And one of those ways that we are going to ensure that that is done is focusing, of course, at the forefront on children's academic and cognitive development. And so our school is proud to be a core knowledge school. Core knowledge has been nationally recognized and at times articles as well as other published works as being successful. So there's the data to back it up and prove it. And in some of my further research on the curriculum, one thing that I found very interesting to read was from a second grade teacher, and she shared that when her students were asked if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would that be? They shared places like Paris, Athens, Australia, Montana, the San Francisco Museum, Legoland. And I just thought that that really showed how well educated they were and how they had such high aspirations for themselves. And that came through the core knowledge curriculum. Pairing with that is core virtues. So that second component of focusing on the whole child is ensuring that they have the social and emotional development needed for their future success. So, what is core virtues? Well, it is going to not be its own entity, but embedded within and across the school day for all of our students K through 6. And each month there will be a specific focus. And so, on that focus, it is in relation to their character development. So, one month may be, say, loyalty. And in that month, teachers are going to be leading students in discussions that are energetic. And what does it mean to be loyal? What does this look like in the classroom, at home, and other places that we may be in other environments? They may be reading books like Charlotte's Web and analyzing those characters, also connecting to the standards for core knowledge, and having those important discussions. Teachers also with core virtues and core knowledge will have all of the books. As Selena mentioned, that library is going to be beautiful and the heart of our school, and we're going to ensure that our students have tangible books in their hand every single day. The third component that really sets us apart is that focus on physical health. Our students are going to have PE not once or twice a week, but every single day. We know that students need at least 60 minutes or more of physical activity daily. And at Libertas Academy, in combining PE and recess, our students are going to have that 60 minutes met before they even leave school. And that's going to ensure that their brains and bodies are functioning at rest. Also, in addition to that, each day students will have either art or music as another outlet to focus on their mental health and their overall learning and well-being at school, and in relation to that core knowledge curriculum as well.
Great. And I think you said that so well, Savannah, that, what we believe is that children should move. And that is why PE every day. It's not to be confused that we aren't equally emphasizing academics, but that we believe that when children are moving and have the ability to have that every single day in a variety of ways, that there's just a lot of research to back as to why that is so important and really very effective. So it's a very exciting piece of what we're going to do. And really, some of the other things that set us apart is for charters, just nationally and especially locally, you don't see that they provide transportation. It is just a very expensive component to a school. And we have really committed to that idea of providing transportation to the families who need it. And so we will have 2 buses in year 1. We will do community stops. So after enrollment is complete or the lottery is complete, whatever avenue we have to take when children have been accepted to our school, we will ask our families to tell us if that is something that they need for their child to be able to access school. And we will do the best that we can to get all of the students who need that to our school by running 2 buses in the morning and then 2 buses again in the afternoon. So that is again a very neat and different component that we are offering at Libertas. Another component is that we really believe in setting those really firm foundational skills for children academically. And the way to do that is to have a higher teacher to student ratio. So while assistants are found in all kindergarten classrooms around the state, we also are going to have assistants in our first grade classrooms. And then we will have one assistant in our second grade classroom, and that will float and share between all the second graders. So we really want to try to enhance that, especially over time, and provide that more and individualized attention to our students in our classrooms. And another thing that we really emphasize is that we are not going to have homework. And so we really want parents to understand that it is a longer school day so that we can offer these things with fidelity and do it well. If children are going to PE every day and art or music, then we have to have a longer school day to really get that all in, to do it well. And so when they leave us, we really want to make sure that they're going home and getting an opportunity to be children. That means going outside, their after school activities, whether that's gymnastics or sports or church or whatever things that you have, we want them to be able to do that and without the stress of coming home and doing additional work. Now, that does not mean that we don't believe in studying. That does not believe that, or that we believe that parents shouldn't be involved in what they're learning. Our core knowledge curriculum is free to anyone to go online and download. So you at any point you can access our curriculum. You'll know what the children are learning. And of course, the teachers will be communicating that. But it is really important to us that we do not have homework. There's just not a whole lot of research to prove that that's very effective. And so, really, now we're going to get to the heart of what we're doing here tonight. And this was one of the topics that was suggested to us quite often, actually, by families because we don't yet have our building. I think it is important that we talk about what does it look like for our scholars? What are our children going to have every single day? And I think the best person to talk us through that is Ms. Davis. She is a current teacher in the classroom. I think she can really speak to not only what it looks like at Libertas and what we're doing, but just how it can look for our teachers and what that will look like for them as well. So I really have wanted her to come tonight because she will be the one that's really leading and supporting our teachers as well. And so I'm going to kind of kick it off over to her and let her talk through what a day in the life of a Libertas student will look
All right, I'm so excited to share and give a little glimpse into
like.
what our students and our teachers' day will look like. I first want to share that, of course, this is just a broad overview of what the day may look like. Of course, every classroom is going to be different because we're going to have special and unique students in every classroom setting. So it'll be differentiated and varied based on the population within that room. So just for example, a student's day, we are going to prioritize having reading and writing earlier in the day because this is when we know when our students' brains are most awake and alert. And so as we start with reading and writing in the day, as mentioned before, we're going to be having books in students' hands. As core knowledge is a classical curriculum, students will be having lots of classical tales as well as a mixture of more modern books as well, and also providing them opportunities to read books for enjoyment to instill that love of reading and learning for them every single day. After reading and writing time, students may travel on over to PE where they're getting their physical education, going towards that minimum of 60 minutes of physical activity per day. And when they head on back to the room, they may be enjoying a morning snack and then hopping right on into math. When our students are learning math, we're going to ensure that they have manipulatives in hand. They are not just working out of workbooks and worksheets, but our students are hands-on learning. They can build it, they can draw it, And then they can go to those more computational equations and questions. So after math, our students then will venture on over to the next component of the day, which may be lunch and recess. And our students are going to, of course, always enjoy this part of the day. As we know, many of our students' favorite parts of the day is lunch and recess. They get to have some enjoyable food and some more fresh air and part of that physical activity. Selena, would you mind sharing a little bit more about what our lunch will look like in year one to share with our families tonight?
Absolutely. It's a number, I would say, top 5 question we get. In year one, you saw in our modulars, we do not have yet a plan for a cafeteria. We do in year two. So we will be asking that families send lunch with their child. We'll do kind of a variety of different things. We're doing that. We're also going to look at maybe having pizza days or Chick-fil-A days, but we also want to be cognizant of families who might need that support and help with the cost. So we're going to look at some creative solutions for how we can make sure that, of course, our children are fed no matter what constraints there may be. So we are actually talking with several organizations right now about how they can partner with us to help us ensure that all children have access to a lunch every single day. So no matter where you are in that, whether a child forgets of their lunchbox, we're going to make sure our children are fed. But that will be one of the constraints in year one. However, in year two, our cafeteria will be fully functional. So thanks, Savannah, for asking that question.
Yes, of course. So after that enjoyable time of the day, students will then be excited to return back to the classroom because their next activity will possibly be in regards to science. And science, just like math, we want our students hands-on learning. We want to be engaging in experiments. We want to be engaging students, again, as I mentioned before, to not teach them what to think, but how to think. They are going to be the mathematicians and the scientists in the classroom to be able to apply those skills in real life scenarios and potentially in their future careers too. Again, we may have another little snack. As Selena mentioned, our school day is a little bit longer. And following that, students will then jump right into the next core subject, which is going to potentially be social studies. And again, these may be flipped around a little bit based on the classroom or the grade level, but we are going to ensure that students receive science and social studies every single day, as that is a core component of core knowledge and how we're going to ensure our students' successes across subject areas.
And so at the end of the day, what you see there, of course, are our kids heading out. I get a lot of questions also about after school. And will we have an after school program? And we certainly will. So what that's going to look like, we have some things in the works about the partnerships that we will create, maybe with some local clubs and things of that nature. But no matter what that partnership looks like, we will have an after school program for families. Okay, sorry, keeps jumping around. So now we're going to get into the kind of questions and answers. So I have gotten one question already in the chat box, and I want to make sure we answer these. So our school day is longer. We are going to run from 8 to 3:30. And so we start a little later. Some schools start around 7:40. We will start at 8 and we will run to 3:30 every day. Another question that we received, as I put this out on social media, parents could enter their questions into a Google form. And so I want to make sure that here tonight we answer those for those people who have asked these specific questions. I think this is a very important question that we got. We have spoken about the charter school and how we do enrollment, and that we are not bound by geographical lines, so that we are bound by our charter. So how many children enroll is really, that is decided in our approval stages. So we cannot enroll more than 600 kids in their first year. So any child who doesn't get in would then go on a wait list. And the only time in which a child could get that spot is if a child left. And then we would move in the order of the children who are on that wait list. What could happen in April, I will say we are seeing a tremendous jump in our enrollment and growth, which is fantastic. We want to have full school. So after we get to April 15th, we will look at our numbers and determine if any one grade level has gone beyond the number that we have allotted, then we would have to go to a lottery. And a lottery is exactly how it sounds. We would then publicize that information when we were doing that, where we were doing that, and we would pull essentially names and families. The law allows for a couple of caveats for when children can get into the school, even if they are in a lottery. Yeah, sibling preference. So if one of the siblings gets in, all of the students get in because the Charter School Act is very sensitive to the idea of making sure families can be together. And so that's important. Another avenue that is a guarantee spot is if you are an employee of the school and have a child who comes with you. That is something else that we make sure that that is something we can, that the Act allows for. And so we want to make sure that our teachers can bring their children with them. The other part of that is that that is a one-time thing. Once your child is in, they're in. They're in. We don't do a lottery again for those current students. So if they're in kindergarten and they're continuing with us to first grade, they get that spot the next year. There's not a risk of losing that spot unless you as a parent chooses to withdraw your child. So once you're in for as long as the grade levels that we offer exist. And so then that leads me to this next question that I get quite often is, will we be adding grade levels every year? And so, yes, we will. The building that you have seen is being built for kindergarten and to house through 8th grade. We hope to add beyond that, but the only thing I can say to that is it would have to be supported by our community and our families. So if we wanted to build into high school, we would really need to show that parents and that our family and our community want that in order for us to secure the funding to build out our high school. But that would be a project that I would move very quickly into um, after our first year. So we would want to continue. My hope is that we do. And so another question is about special education. Ms. Davis, could you talk a little bit about what that is and will we offer special education at Libertas?
Of course. So, special education at Libertas is really going to be formed and focused around the student population that we receive. So, as of the moment, we have some broad ideas and things that we want to ensure all of our students receive. But once we know more about the students that will have the school year, we're really going to form the programs based around them. Because, as always, as we've said, we are going to have every child and the whole child at the forefront of all decision making. And so, as again, we're excited to get to know all of our students coming in and getting to really form those concrete plans of how we can ensure every child's success at Libertas.
Thank you. You are exactly right. So we're going to move on because we are at 5:52. If anybody has questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. I'll keep revisiting it. But I think it's very important that parents understand when we say spots are limited, we really mean that once we are full, I feel certain that families are going to stay with us for the long haul, and we want that. And so I do think that it is important that if this is the school that you are interested in for your children, that you go ahead and reserve and apply for your child today. And so it's a really quick application. It's about 4 questions. We don't ask a lot of questions because it's not at the enrollment phase yet. So we won't begin requesting records. That won't happen until after April 15th. So if this is the school that you are interested in, I really suggest that you go ahead and do that as soon as possible because we are starting to fill quickly. And it just keeps jumping around. Let me scroll back through. We're just going back through the presentation again. I think I just keep hitting the wrong button. Okay, so let's talk about what's next. So in order to learn more, really continue to visit our website. We're continuing to look at ways in which we can continue to put information on that website so that we keep families up to date about what we're doing. We hope very soon to be putting some more really cool and exciting news about our building on our website. So we're working with our architectural firm to do that soon. The next thing that's on the calendar is our career fair. So it is really important to what we're going to do to have the best staff and the best teachers and people who are like-minded with the same mission and vision that we see for Libertas. And so I'm really asking that you spread the word to your friends, family, community members that you know. We have all positions open, and we are going to run that from 9 to 1 p.m. at USC Upstate in the Readiness Center. If you need more information, you are also welcome to email me directly. You'll see my information there on the screen. And I'm glad to answer those questions for you. And we also keep our Facebook and Instagram pretty much up to date with our just the new information that's coming out and when our next events are going to be. So before I close us out, I want to make sure that I answer again the questions. I'm revisiting the chat box. And so the question I just received was for the school entrance and exit, will it be on Rainbow Lake Road or Bible Church Road? And that's a great question. It will be on Rainbow Lake Road. So we met with the South Carolina Department of Transportation and they approved our plans for our parking lot and then, of course, the driveway into the building. And so that is going to come off of Rainbow Lake Road. We will have a separate entrance for buses, but we will directly move on and off to Rainbow Lake Road. And so they're very particular about how much um, parking space and in addition to just driveway space so that you can get as much cars off of the road so that you're not sitting on that road for too long. And we will have a resource officer in year one. And so they will be helping us to formulate the plans to keep the traffic flow and pattern moving in the morning. So that's a great question. Thank you for that. And I hope to publicize more of those specific plans. We were just waiting on those kind of final sign offs and approval. And so very exciting that we just met with the Office of School Facilities and the South Carolina Department of Transportation, who all approved all of our plans. So I think in the next couple of weeks, you will start to see some movement on our property. You will be able to drive by. If you have drove by recently, you'll see that they have been spraying the lines for showing where we're going to have our sewer lines and things like that. Measurements are happening on the property. So we're really excited about the progress that we're making. And very soon, we hope to have a sign on the property that says future site of Libertas with our rearings, our drawings, architectural drawings. And I certainly don't want to rush anyone, but the intention of these are to keep these succinct. So I do have a link in the chat box that if you have questions that we didn't answer, or if you'd like to have just a one-on-one conversation with me, please enter your information, or you can reach out to me directly via email, and I'm glad to do that. And I'm just really thankful for everyone who came tonight. For Savannah, for you, she is full-time teaching right now, so this is her after-hours job. And I'm thankful that she has come onto our team and really believing in what we're going to accomplish here in Bowling Springs. And I'm really excited to continue to build an incredible team of educators who love children and really want to see something done different in education. And so it's just a really exciting time for Bowling Springs. And so, Savannah, is there anything I might have missed or anything you'd like to add?
No, I just thank you for having me this afternoon and all of you who have again joined us. And I look forward to hopefully seeing some of your faces at our upcoming events or at our career fair on February 18th as well, and getting to know you as we form this new option for school in our community. And I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. And I know that we're going to see great success ahead of us. So thank you again for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. And thank you to everyone who came this evening. I'm going to post this on our social media and send this out to families for those who asked me to share this. We do have a YouTube channel, so we'll continue to upload that information there as well. So thank you again, and we hope to see you at one of our next events.